that's a speculatory number. But that's what I would have told Emily today when that came in. We looked around and found some money. So
I know there were some unanswered questions about whether the original contractor had been contracted to do some of the excavation work and such that the town hadn't gotten them to do yet, or if the original contractor had actually been paid for that work and it just hadn't been done. But it seems as though whether funding's an issue or not, the COMCOM should get something more, even if the funds aren't secured to get the work started, something beyond just planning to look into it in another couple of months. And I guess maybe what I would ask of you guys is to request a town representative who's sort of in charge of this project to revisit the issue with you. I think it might have been last August when you guys might remember you agreed on and voted on a series of steps after 30 days had passed from your original issuance of the enforcement order, which I think was like July last year. You had agreed on and voted on sort of the series of steps moving forward. And maybe it's time to revisit that and come up with a new one based on the current situation. But maybe getting the town in here in front of you to have the conversation instead of me coming would make more sense.
I can get Sylvia to come.
Yeah.
For our next meeting, yeah. Do we need to make a motion on that? So.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Ed. That's kind of too bad because it. Coast 141 Cliff Road.
Thank you. For the record, Paul Santos with Nantucket Surveyors. This application was actually heard at last month's meeting. Ian, I think, was
On the phone.
on the phone. And this is for the owner, Gary and Hilly Kosei, have owned this property for a number of years and have just been done with trying to repair the beach stairs on a yearly basis. So what they're looking to do is construct a 12 by 10 platform at the top of the coastal bank and then put in a aluminum stairway that would be removed on a yearly basis. At the last meeting, we had our DEP number. We did not have a response from Fisheries and Wildlife. We do have that. No adverse effect under the Wetlands Protection Act and a no take under the Endangered Species Act. So that letter has been submitted. There was also a question on kind of a profile, if you will. So we've added a profile to the plan here, which shows the existing ground surface from the beach up to the top of the bank, the actual stairway itself, and then I did submit some literature on the dock. It's on from an aluminum dock, which makes the stairway. It's essentially a two-piece, 20-foot. It's 20 foot in length, or 22 feet in length in sections. That's connected at the middle with a standard side handrail that is attached to it. As I said, this would be coming out on a yearly basis. What we would plan to do is support the stairway at the center point and then another support down at the lower end. This would be a 6x6 wood post, and we anticipate trying to drive those in with a handheld pile driver, if you will, a two-man driver that would just basically be used to drive those into the slope. And that is the application and the supplemental information that we've submitted. There are no waivers required or requested with the application.
Anything from the commission? I just had one question, Paul. It looks like there's some kind of a brace at the top that it hooks over or something? from the
Yeah,
pictures.
it's latched into the, onto the deck itself, just to connect that.
So that's all part of the deck?
It's part of the deck, and what it does, it just connects in and then is lagged into the deck itself, just to stabilize that upper base. So,
Yeah, I just wasn't sure what it was,
yeah.
how that upper piece was supported. And this thing is out of the buffer zones for the wetlands,
Yeah,
for the, not the.
yeah, we do have, there is a wetland over here, that's right, it's in the, that's right, the wetland over here is, there's the 25, there's the 50. It is within the 100. It's outside of the. Yes, it's outside the 25 and the 50 of the
Okay.
vegetated
Yeah.
wetland.
So that upper deck is not.
Yeah, so with that, because those would, if you weren't looking at the coastal bank, those lines would be coming.
Yeah,
like that.
yeah, I know it gets a little
Yeah.
confusing when the
Yeah.
lines start to switch resource areas. Okay. Anything from the public on COSA? There's nothing else from the commission.
Nope.
Ready to close, Paul?
Yes.
Do we have everything we need to close, John?
Yes, sir.
Do I have a motion to close?
Move close.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion carries with Commissioner Carberg recused. Okay, Nicholson, 22 Brewster Road.
David Haynes for the applicant. Also here is the applicant, Sam Nicholson. What this is it's a notice of intent. It was a house that you approved about a year and a half or 2 years ago, and it just got the certificate of compliance. And if it hadn't, we would have done this under a minor mod. It's an existing house on Brewster, right after it comes off of Monomoy, and it's in the buffer zone to a BVW. The limits of work of what was previously approved are remaining exactly the same. The silt fence is still up. We're going to use that. The only thing that's being proposed in here is the construction or the placement of a dry laid stone patio, a very small addition that infills in the corner of the building there, and a proposed outdoor shower. There's no change in grades. Everything else remains the same. It's basically a little bit more work on the same project to finish it off. Any disturbed areas will be loamed and seeded and monitored until everything is stable. Pretty straightforward.
From the certificate, and the distance is still the same, but the closest structural element of the project to the wetland is still 79 feet.
79 feet.
Okay, so no waivers.
No waivers. Yeah.
And
Okay.
no waivers. All the vegetative buffers that are there are remaining. There is a natural heritage line that runs through the property. No work is occurring inside of that, or was occurring inside of that before. It's on town water and sewer.
The dry laid patio is about 65 feet, and it's outside the 50.
Okay, any other questions from the commission or anything from the public? Okay, Jeff, do we have everything we need to close?
Yes, sir.
Move to close? Second.
All in favor?
Yeah.
Thanks.
Any opposed? That motion carries unanimously. Okay, Town of Nantucket, DPW, 188 Nantucket Road, and I don't see file number on
All
this
right,
one.
this is kind of confusing. We'll get to it in a little bit, and then I will talk about it both, because I thought Bruce was going to be here, but sorry, I'm ruining our time to go through these. So both of these, the next two projects are both invasive species removal. This is one for Phragmites, and it's easiest, the stamp plan is kind of old. So these are here, it's the area, if you guys are familiar with it, at the joiner of the head of Long Pond and the main body of Long Pond, there's a small stand of Phragmites that's there that the town is looking to remove.
On the right when you're driving
Yep.
toward Madigan.
So when you're driving towards Nantucket, it'll be right hand. It's a small patch that's there. They're using the same. I know we provided the protocols in their packets. It does require a waiver, but they sent a file number for 48 Cliff Road, and it's the same number that they sent for 188 Nantucket Road. So we have some issues there, but I guess if there are any questions that you guys would have, I could pass along to
Oh, so they're lumping
And so
together
this-
2 projects and 2 different parcels.
they're under separate applications, but DEP issued the same number for them. They got, it's not correct, so it'll
So
be
they still need a number.
correct
Okay.
for the one. One of them has it and one of them does not. We're just not sure which one it is. But if there are questions, I know the protocol for removal is included.
And it's a rodeo clip and drip during the growing season, 25%, late summer and fall.
Pretty,
Pretty much the standard.
pretty the standard kind of application
Stems
removal
cut,
protocols.
placed in a plastic bag, put in
Taken
a
to the
digester.
dump, yeah.
It's a long commute for this one to the digester.
Mhm.
The only thing I would recommend on both of these projects is that they make sure they put up signs,
Mhm. That they've
you know,
applied.
that they're applying this when they're doing the work and that they stay up until they're,
That's something we can.
That's a
certainly
really
condition
good
to.
idea. Yeah.
no, this
So-
is, you know, this is one of the most public spots.
This is where
been
people
done.
go fishing and stuff, yeah.
Yep.
You know, a lot of kids hanging out there. and-
Mhm.
I'll pass it along, but since we can't close it tonight, if there are not a lot of questions, we can.
I think that's a great idea.
maybe put up some of the yellow tape.
Just a little more.
I'll say this area is being treated for,
Mhm.
and having a photo monitoring before and after
Yep.
Mhm.
would be a good one.
Well, not there. It's still the
Okay.
same standard stuff, but I guess without that, I'll ask to continue it to the 11th.
Anything from the public? Okay, I guess, unless we hear an objection, we'll continue this to June 11th. Okay. Now the DPW 48 Cliff Road.
So this one is kind of the same thing, but a little different. This is at Coffin Park, so I'll get out the standpoint so we can kind of see what we're dealing with wetland wise. People who know the boardwalk.
He's not
Yes. This one changes a little bit
parking.
procedure-wise.
One giant.
Yeah, if you go by Coffin Park, it's hard to miss, because there's just an outstanding amount of it. But it's the same, I know we've provided the same things, and if the conditions are the same, I'm ultimately going to be asking for a continuance for this to the 11th, because they have to straighten out the file number issue. But if people have questions or concerns to pass them on now, I'll take them in and pass them along to DPW folks.
Just the monitoring again, because it wasn't mentioned, as far as photos and number of stems treated.
Mhm.
Sure.
And they asked for both the ability to spray and to do hand cut, clip and drip.
Yes.
And it depends on exactly if this is this right along the boardwalk where it's the wettest?
I think the intention was, and I'll get them to clarify it, that any of the foliar spraying would be outside of the actual wetland area, be more of the buffer zone where
That's-
they get the reed sprouts that are there. And then the stuff in the wetland would all be by hand.
Okay, that was my question. Yep.
They just have a major buffer zone issue there, right along the actual street.
Yeah.
Yep.
Pretty insane.
So, and again, there should be signage. I mean, they should probably close that little part if there's a boardwalk right in the middle of it.
Sure. Well, we can certainly condition that there be appropriate signage installed that says danger or beside the use.
Right, but I don't think it was necessary to close the boardwalk.
Yeah.
Sign
Yeah.
stay on it,
Yeah.
yeah, because in fact, it's high enough there that there's no reason to go off it.
Right.
So,
But I think adding the signs is good for the DPW and it's good for them.
Just covers their bases, you know, I mean, it's, these are not, they're among the safest herbicides, but still, you don't want to ever take a chance with them, so. Okay, so unless I hear an objection, we'll continue this to the 11th. Okay, thanks. Okay, we'll go to the public meeting. Minor mods, Robinson, 9 North Beach Street.
He's not back yet, but all right. This one is to address. This is the project on Swain Street. Through the HDC process, the house that we had approved has changed in configuration a little bit, and there's a little expansion in the porch that was put on, and you can kind of see it on the second floor deck that's there. It's all within area that we permitted to be part of the dwelling, but it's just a revision to the HDC approved plans.
This is just land subject to...
Land subject to coastal storage flowage only.
Okay.
So I would recommend that it's in keeping with our minor modifications.
So what is this?
Right, so the dwelling that we had approved, there's the new dwelling that was there,
Right.
and then some of the work is through the HDC process. Some of this changed from patio to porch
Okay.
and there, and then the deck that was approved, shower was added onto it through the HDC process. They're just trying to get their architectural approved plans in sync with their Conservation Commission approved plans. And they're just trying to highlight the differences.
Okay. Any other questions or comments from the commission?
Nope.
We have a motion to issue a minor mod.
So moved.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion carries unanimously. Okay, 7 Huckleberry Lane LLC.
For the applicant, Jeff Sparrow, Blackwell Associates. This is a minor modification that requests some additional split rail fencing to an application that was for split rail fencing. We're located out just to the west of the Dionis Beach Accessway, and the approved split rail fencing was along the easterly property line shown here, and the minor modification is to add a section less than 30 feet long along the easterly property line. And that's it's outside of the 25-foot buffer zone to the vegetated wetland, and it's just a split rail fence installed by hand.
Okay.
No cutting of
Structural
vegetation.
element.
Were people using the right of way still?
That's correct, and it's to block that.
Right.
They won't go around it.
There's, I don't know how much I should get into.
Tick signs.
I don't think, we'll deal with that if we have to, I
Right.
guess.
And it's not a public way, I mean, it's their private thing they're blocking.
That's right. Certain people have rights within it, but the neighbors and the attorneys have been working on that.
Okay,
So
so that we're not blocking anyone's legal
It's not a
access.
public access.
Yeah,
Right, private matter.
or even, yeah. Okay,
Okay.
seems simple enough. Move to issue as requested.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Thank you.
That motion carries unanimously. Okay, Cons Holding LLC, 10 Charles Street.
In front of you tonight with a landscape plan for the property located on the corner of Charles and North Beach Street. And I have a full-size
It's
plan
a
here.
big, giant
And so the minor modification is really to provide you with a good chance to review the landscape plan. There's no structural element changes involved, and I know this is a little bit rough of a plan. What we have, and I have the approved plans here if you would like, but the wetland resource area is actually on the opposite side of Charles Street, over in here. And these lines that you can see on his plan are the 50 and 100-foot buffer zone. And of course, the site in its entirety is located within land subject to coastal storm flowage. As I said, really it's to approve the landscaping. This was a previously landscaped site that was lawn that had an existing house that was taken down and then the new house put in. And they agree, of course, to best management practices with respect to any fertilizer use. And I think that's really, if there's any of the aspects of the landscaping that you had questions about, I'd be happy to try to address
To
them.
throw in the original approval, we had approved landscaping, and that back area was originally permitted to be returned back to lawn. So this is just kind of a refinement of what that is.
I thought it was the best way to sort of get it for you.
I didn't see anything that really jumped out as a problem.
You know, the only tricky thing is it's a very wet site.
So that's
No doubt.
Any other questions? Jeff, do you have a recommendation?
And that we can issue this as a minor modification.
Do I have a motion?
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, Jackson. No, Jackson, 47 Wall Street.
Was it in our packets?
Yes.
Nope. That was a rhetorical question. No, it wasn't. Yeah, it's not here.
It's the problem. Sometimes when I don't have to scan them in, I have to but I have it again. Mark apologizes for not being here, but he had some sick. Make it a little bit. Right, so these are for modifications to the footprint of the single-family dwelling. So they're asking for, let's get this correct. He's proposing to relocate, the single-family residence to the west of the previously approved location. So it's sliding a little bit over, and then the garage is relocating from this side over to this side. The wetland is land subject to coastal storm flowage.
Oh, that's all. Okay. So it's just
So-
moving things around.
There's moving things around, sorry.
Wall Street.
Yeah, there's no increase in footprint or.
Yes.
Okay.
Approve it somewhat.
Okay. That's simple.
There's no other questions. Do I have a motion to issue the minor mod?
Move to issue? Oh, go ahead.
All in favor? Any opposed? That motion carries unanimously. Okay. Certificates of compliance. Record, 4 Harbor View Way.
This was one for the reconstruction of a foundation beneath an existing structure on Harborview Way. That's why we included the sign-off from the building department in your packet for this one, because it's not something that we always get as-built plans for. So it was just a pick up, kind of repair in place and put back down. Upon our inspection, and after I spoke with Steve Butler on this one, I would recommend that this qualifies for certificate of compliance.
Okay, so moved.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion carries unanimously. Okay, Connor. Oops, sorry, Jim.
Right, which one was that one? Sorry.
Whenever you're ready, we'll go to Connor, 29 East Lincoln Ave.
All right. So this one also. So this one was for the construction of addition for the wooden deck and the replacement of some retaining walls. You can see the two as-built plans in there. And upon our inspection, I would say everything was constructed in compliance and with no ongoing conditions.
We have a motion to issue the certificate for Connor on 29 East Lincoln.
So moved.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion carries unanimously. Okay, 20 Straight Wharf LLC, 20 Straight Wharf.
This is for the other new one for the reconstruction of 20 Straight Wharf LLC. Anyone that goes down to the highway probably drives by this thing. That's the base. But again, this is just for the as-built within coastal storm flowage. And that's it. And with the as-built on our plan, they match up again, and I would recommend this one could also get issued.
I have a motion to issue the certificate.
So moved.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion carries unanimously. Okay, Callahan at 12 Walnut Road.
Use that again.
This one's a little, this
I'll miss you.
one's a little bit more tricky, but it's pretty straightforward nonetheless. This was an order that stemmed from some unpermitted cutting on a coastal bank. The property has since changed hands from the owner who had it at the time to a new owner. Went out there and did an inspection again, and the cutting has ceased. But we've also, under a different order to the new owner, dealt with the management of this area and the cutting of this area. This is kind of an outstanding order that's not really being practiced or followed, as it's all covered under new permits. To the new owners, it's one of the things that they came in to do some work, so we moved the requirements of this order onto something for them, so if it was extinguished. So we're just looking to grant the certificate of compliance for the allowing of that bank to regrow for the original one, and then the cutting conditions and those things are open still on the new order. Just kind of
Just an extinguishing or
just
closing out.
extinguishing it, so I would say that it's in compliance, and I would recommend the certificate of compliance. But I wanted to be sure, because I know we've all seen the site before, that there's the same requirements are still in place on a different order.
I have a motion to issue the certificate for Callahan.
So moved?
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion carries unanimously. Okay, orders of conditions. Kosei, 141 Cliff Road.
Second. And I have drafts for the first two, and then the second two. I do have a same about Koseis, so I'll just wrap myself up. I left off, I forgot to add at the end of the first sentence in the permit overview, the construction of the platform at the top of the bank, along the coastal bank, and within the buffer zone. To the vegetated wetland. Let's go. Other than that, I've said that the state is restored outside the 50 is pretty normal. Other than that, couldn't really think of anything. It's pretty straightforward.
Do they have a time of year? No, they don't have a time of year issue.
Yeah.
Seems fine to me.
In order to issue as amended.
So moved? Oops, sorry.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion carries with Commissioner Hubbard recused.
Flip the sheet.
Okay, we have 22 Brewster Road, Nicholson.
On the back part. I really have a lot. Seems like a pretty straightforward project, so.
additions.
If there's no further questions or comments, do I have a motion to issue as drafted?
So moved.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion carries unanimously. Okay, so,
Before you get out of orders, I do have one more. We approved last Wednesday the Mass DOT order with Ian on the phone. I wrote the signature page for us to sign for that. This week.
For the bike path.
For the bike path. You don't have to make any motions or anything.
Well, Jen already left, so.
Yep. But I figured instead of me chasing you all down anyway, I'd be all captive right now. It's going to be a lot easier. I have a day to chase everyone around.
Were there conditions on that as far as monitoring, or it was just,
If there was monitoring with that, there was the split rail fence condition for the 2-rail fencing. There was the black which goes through the digester.
Jeff, do you want to discuss any of the other,
I didn't really close anything, so
No, I guess we didn't, did we?
I think the 2 DPW ones are pretty straightforward.
Yeah, I was
There's a
gonna
lot of
say,
those orders, except for that it's the signage issues. That's really it. It's a nice
Okay.
light agenda. It's a nice welcome change.
mm-hmm.
Ian brought good luck back from Hawaii.
Well, I just have to go over there again.
Apparently.
No,
No, I think we're taking turns.
Yeah. Artie, I think it's your turn.
Okay, so, enforcement
I
actions.
don't really have anything to add for those tonight. I know Sarah had brought up one, but I'll talk about Kelly later. So,
I'll do that during the
yeah.
commissioners.
Other than that,
Other business, approval of minutes. We have several sets of minutes to
I
approve.
sent a lot. So
Yeah, I have tons of little bitty typos. Do I just send them to you or to Terry?
Yeah, if
or-
you have typos, just send them to me.
It's just
And I'll-
core, COIR for core. I'll just send them
Some of them I missed when I read through.
in
all
effect
of them,
for
too.
effect, and,
So-
yeah. They're minor, but,
I think we're looking for content issues. If people have content issues.
yeah,
I can go back and double check and make, it's COIR, right? For-
yeah,
Yeah.
all of them, they wouldn't be caught by spell catch.
I know.
Yeah, so like
But I
side
can
for
do it, but
size.
I can go find a new place.
Yeah, I'm happy to send them either, I'll just send it
Just
in
send
email
them to me,
Yeah,
and
because
I'll-
they're not,
You can
I'll
forward
get it
it.
to you,
Yeah.
or I'll make the corrections.
Yeah,
when we
if
do.
you want to approve as amended, you can do that.
yeah. It wasn't, nothing was content issue that I could see.
We'll have
So,
those
do we
redone.
have a list of which meetings these are minutes for? Do we have to, just so we know which ones we're approving?
It's October, I mean, I got it right here.
You can ask for this. You want
It's
to-
everything from October 30th, let's
It's
see,
October 30th to May the 5th.
to May the 5th, yeah. I mean, it's 122 pages.
Yeah, I noticed.
Did you? Did I get a prize for finding like
This will be
28
the-
typos?
Yes, you do.
Yeah.
Stupidity award, yeah. They're very useful, they're very
Oh,
good,
they were very
Terry,
good,
they're
yeah.
really helpful.
They sure are.
Mhm.
So,
Okay, so do I have a motion to approve the minutes from October 30th through May 5th as amended?
Amended? So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Just one question, Mr. Chairman. Following on with the Scribners and the typos, and I couldn't find it, just scrambling through them right now, but when I first read through, I saw there was a reference in one of these, and it was one of the earlier ones where I had made what was called a friendly amendment, and I know I wouldn't do such a thing, because I don't believe there is such a thing as a friendly amendment. There are amendments, and that's what there are. There's no such thing as a friendly or a hostile amendment. I know that other boards characterize them that way.
I would be happy to remove the word friendly from.
So I was just,
Any reference to amendments.
I just hate to be characterized as friendly.
I
See, everyone wants that to happen.
Yeah.
I remember that one, I just.
I just think that was self-characterization.
Yeah, that was definitely, I was like page 7 or 8, I remember seeing it.
We can definitely remove that if you would feel more comfortable not being characterized as possibly being friendly.
Or hostile.
Yeah.
Just ambivalent is what we're looking for.
Another
Neither friendly nor hostile, it's an amendment.
Non-biased, yes.
And on that point, Mr. Chairman, so maybe I'll do this also under Commissioner comment, but there's no such thing as a reluctantly aye or reluctantly nay in voting. There is, you vote aye or you vote nay.
I think that was attributed to me because I said it was reluctant.
I think you actually used that term.
I did,
Yeah,
yes.
I remember somebody
So
used it, I didn't know who
think
did.
that's
Yeah,
accurate.
and I
Sarah
think,
used it last week, too.
yeah, I used it once and Andy's used it once, so.
I'm sure.
Yeah. I think that adds nuance and je ne sais quoi to the,
And I'm
Just
going to be making some
doesn't,
grumpy amendments.
Comport with our,
yeah,
not
grumpy
with our
amendment.
prescribed procedures.
Okay, so, do we have a motion to issue the minutes from October 30th through May 5th as amended?
So moved.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion carries unanimously. Okay, reports, CPC.
There was a special meeting that I participated by phone about the soccer fields, and so some members wanted to get an outside opinion on town council's opinion, but they did not muster the necessary votes, and there we have it. And DPW said that they were happy to paint additional lines as necessary. So hopefully that's the end of that particular difficulty. So.
Okay, NPDC, nothing? Mosquito Control Committee.
I got an email, but we haven't had a meeting. I think that they're working on the contract for VDCI, and VDCI, the same people that worked did the work last year are working right now without a contract, doing a lot of pre-surveillance, which is nice. They've expanded their surveillance, but there's a little chicken and egg thing with the contract, but they're working on that. Other than that, they're already out in the field doing dip tests. And
Okay. Any other?
gave another talk on the coastal management plan last Monday, and it should be up on the website. And I think that's it on that.
Okay, commissioners' comments.
I had I had it reported to me, and I haven't physically verified it, but I'm fairly certain that it's definitely true, and I wanted Jeff to go check it out if he had time. On 28 Kelly Road, there's a line coming out of a garage and 2 washers and dryers, and there's soapy blue water going straight into a wetland.
I'll definitely check that out.
And it's odd. You can see it from the public way. It's going right along
28 Kelly?
28 Kelly. I can show you it's parcel owned by, well, I don't want to say the owner. But
You can tell me that first.
yeah. And when you click on that, it's very, it's not a huge thing, but it's soapy blue water, and it's blue opaque water going straight along the road, and it's being channeled deliberately to the wetland. They went to trouble to do this, so. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I'm hoping this is at our jurisdiction. He can go by and go, this is not cool, and they can run it.
Well, if it's discharging into the wetland,
I'm sure it's
I'll like the standard.
generally illegal.
Huh?
If they're discharging into the wetland, I'll like the standard, so.
Yeah, no, it's definitely going straight to, and
I'm sure the
at
health
least on the,
inspector would like to know.
I mean, I don't have the survey plan in front of us, but it's a wetland layer on the GIS on the town.
I'll sort it out. That sounds
Okay.
pretty obvious.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure that's the right address, but I'm putting it out.
Good.
Okay.
And I got a call from a concerned citizen about a house down, I think it's the Cliffside Club.
Mm-hmm.
Their neighbor on the jetty side apparently has a perpetual problem with dune sand building up against the house. And scooping that off his house, apparently he just created a big pile on the dunes. And possibly smothering the dune grass and stuff.
I'll look into that. We have some open permits down in that area, so I'm sure that will be pretty obvious to see what's going on.
Yeah, and I mean, it sounds more like you just need some instructions on what to do with the sand than.
Sure. I'm sure we can sort that out. It's on my way to work in the morning.
Any other commissioner? Just a minor thing, but I'm wondering, on the wood property in Nantucket, what the story is with the womanized lumber that's out there.
With the what lumber?
Well, it's as though somebody, and I actually posted months ago on Facebook about it, that someone, it looks like, built a boat rack out of womanized lumber, and
What kind of lumber is that?
pressure treated green lumber, and it's just sitting there in the parking lot.
Actually, no, the answer to that is, they got moved, James Rogovine was building some boat racks as part of his Eagle Scout project,
I did know that, yeah.
and when he asked where to deliver them, we told them some other spot to put them, because we're gonna replace some of the broken ones, and they landed there, we just need to move them out. So, or the Marine Department will, one of us will, but they landed in the wrong
Well, if
spot.
they could just be taken apart and put in a truck, it would be really, I bet I could do it in 15 minutes, take
So-
them apart,
Well,
yes. But
I know-
they're just sitting there at the beginning of the season.
They were gifted to the Marine Department to replace some of their other broken dinghy racks, and they just mix up for where they were supposed to go. They landed there.
Oh, okay, well, that's good to know.
So-
Thank you.
They'll get purposed somewhere at some point.
That's-
I'll run it behind.
I'm more wondering about them being lost, and people are really honest on Nantucket, otherwise they wouldn't be there anymore. Really. You know what I mean? All those galvanized bolts,
I did have one announcement that I wanted to make. For those of you that hadn't heard, I sent a letter to the selectmen asking them to open up my position in this round of positions. So I'm going to step off July 1st or whenever the next appointment is after that, because Noah and I are expecting our first child July 10th. So I'm going to be on maternity leave for 3 months and then working full time, and I just figured the first year I wouldn't have the time to come in here after work and spend a couple hours. So after thinking about it for a while, I decided I'd step off at least for a year, but you might see me again in another year. I'd like to try. I'd like to try and come back if I can, but I think the first year would be a little hard.
We don't have a good daycare plan.
No, not really. Might be too disruptive to bring kids to Concom meetings.
You might provide better context than some of the
Yeah.
other members.
Well, there's hope that you'll come back, but we'll definitely miss you.
Yep.
So moved.
Can you leave your blue pen with us?
My multicolored pen.
Oh.
Someone else is going to have to start bringing a blue pen.
Yeah.
I always believe for people to use. Need to get everyone on this fancy pens, though.
Well, good luck and congratulations.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And we can do something in 2 weeks as far as
Yeah.
Concom
Well, hopefully you guys
baby
will still
prisoners.
be coming back.
Yes.
Well, we've got till July 1st, too.
Right.
So we have a show?
No, I was just going to try to show them so they might get the projector to come down. Something that we've been working on is one of our issues in my report. But I can never remember how to get that thing to come down.
I think you should press down.
I know, it sounds
Just throw things
pretty
together.
simple.
Things like
I'm
King
cocky,
Kong.
we got the one on downstairs.
It
for you.
sounds like
James
James
Bond.
Bond. Circa 1963 or something.
Or is there a switch right here?
No, that's the shades. All right, well, maybe not, but I'll just tell you guys where it is. Do you know how to put that projector down?
I think there's that,
I think there's an override on there.
So did
I
I.
can't believe they have electronic shades in this.
Batteries are
It's
probably
like-
dead.
Yeah. I wonder it costs them on
No kidding.
Right there.
I'm surprised they're not made out of Kevlar.
Yeah, that's the.
So nothing there is taken out.
All right. Well, anyways, I'll just talk about it. So if you guys check out on our natural resources page, our departmental homepage, where we all kind of hub through, we've been trying to deal with all of our wonderful clover and tern issues and trying to get the word out. So if you just go to our regular page, we actually have a little link on the left-hand side now that's called the Clover Watch. That Jason Bridges, Greg, and I have been trying to do. So we're trying to add in, I try to get updates as much as I can, but you'll get like little slides that show any new vehicle closures that come in that are there. And I try to get at least a couple up a week, a little updates for what's happening on beaches if things are going on, birds patched, with little helpful tips for people that'll say, dogs have to be leashed or other stuff that's there, or stay out of fenced areas, and kites and kiteboarding are prohibited from these areas.
Mhm.
But just trying to get somewhere for people to go to look. It's only for town-owned beaches. We don't pretend to add in or know what's going on the beaches. We have no problem keeping track of our own. But definitely, if people have questions about their questions and they can't get a hold of me, direct them towards here, and we're going to try to update for, I don't want to say countdowns exactly because we never know what it's going to be, but if stuff is hatched, we can say, hey, birds have hatched. This area is going to be having some expanded restrictions that are there for protection of the chicks. Sometimes we add in a fact like chicks, like plover chicks take about 30 days to fledge,
Mhm.
and then those restrictions will change again. They'll probably lessen, but it's a way for us to get people to get that kind of information that we have trouble getting out.
Mhm.
So, our little slides on there now, you can see that Smith Point's closed, or the new South Shore restrictions for South Shore Beach and for the fishermen beach area for those birds down there.
What is the, I'm having trouble getting on the page, but that's all right.
We don't ever put specifically where nests are,
Mhm.
so
Good
don't
idea.
expect to see, like, there's a nest right here, as it's just in an area. But it's something we're trying to do to get it out for people.
Mhm.
It doesn't work great on the iPad. Something's
good
up
to
with
know.
the scrolling. Yeah.
Who knows? But it's there, so check it out if people have any questions or concerns.
Oh, I see now. Okay.
Thanks, Joe.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Thanks for the update on the fencing issue yesterday.
Well, it's a different issue.
Which fencing issue?
Smith Point.
Oh.
Turns decided they wanted to lay some eggs outside the fencing.
That's
They do
pesky.
that.
They
Yeah,
usually
yeah.
do that.
They like to do it, and
They're getting those
the one
signs.
nest we found where like the storm high tide line is I actually kind of took a rough measurement. It's about 2.5 feet.
Mhm.
And I was like, yeah, adios.
That's their turns.
I'm going to guess that today is probably wet that nest out. So I should have had fencing around it before that even went down,
Mhm.
apparently, because putting fencing into the high tide areas.
No, they're doing the removal on that fence up in the air off of Hummock Pond
Yes.
Road. Yeah.
They have most of it done. They should have
Mhm.
most of it
Is there
done by
anything
now.
else that we're
Kind
expecting
of a
people
nice
to?
erosion measurement device, actually.
Yeah,
Pretty
it's
impressive.
good for the volume.
It's
Yeah.
the proverbial line in the sand. It's
Yeah.
a big vertical
Mhm.
line.
Yeah.
Made
So,
the front page.
Mm-hmm.
other than that, administratively, I don't have a lot of stuff to add.
Okay.
Other than, good luck to you two with your reappointments. You guys have plenty of time to make it downstairs tonight. And walk around.
Are they appointing tonight or no?
No, they're just, it's the,
Q&A.
people would like to say their piece. They can.
Oh, yes.
So the piece, or if they have questions, they
Yep.
Seems like they've gone a little early this year.
Yeah.
Yeah, it does.
can. It is, but they've had the problems in the last couple of years with it running into the first week of July.
Right.
And that caused some issues. So
Mm-hmm.
it'd be nice to be done.
Yeah.
So, and we have a special meeting for SBPF?
Tomorrow.
4 p.m. in here.
4 p.m.
In here, okay.
And you'll bring what you've got, and we'll bring what we have.
We'll bring what we were requested to bring, and
Okay.
we'll continue through the process. And we'll see you guys then. And if
Okay.
not, when we get next week home,
Wow.
maybe.
Yeah.
Okey dokey.
So move to adjourn, or do we have anything else?
I think
Nope.
that's it.
Okay, move to adjourn.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Okay, that motion carries unanimously.
Those are all signed, yep.
Actually, I think board is going to be
Yeah, I'm assuming we're not allowed to speak for you.